Hello guys, I hope wherever you're watching us from, you're having a great time. This is AfriPost and welcome to today's video. Now, over the years, there's been this increased desire by African countries to really have a better management of their affairs. We've seen those countries standing up against their former colonizers. For instance, the countries within the Sahel region have really proved to be strong against those countries that colonized them. One of the notable nations that has really suffered the wrath of these African countries is France. France has seen it all because you note that many of former French colonies have decided to stand up against France and ensure that their soldiers are kicked away from their countries. For example, Niger has kicked out French soldiers out. We've seen Burkina Faso kicking them away. We've seen Mali and many other countries looking at a strategy through which they can end their relationship with France. So in today's video, I came across this advice from one renowned American activist called Dr. Umar Johnson. He is a renowned scholar and also somebody who has been speaking up against exploitation of Africa. He has identified himself as a Pan-Africanist, as somebody who is really having the desire of Africa at heart. So he was giving some important advice to African leaders and especially the military leaders who took up leadership in recent years. So I want us to listen to this video, then come back and talk about it more. In the end, let's watch.
Another question I have for the presidents of Guinea, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. What deals are you making with China and Russia that the people don't know about? Don't tell me you overthrew the previous leader to make the same mistakes that he made in Guinea. Do not go into debt to Russia, China, or India. They are not your friends. If you go into debt to Russia, China, and India, you are no longer a revolutionary. You are a puppet. I hope you're listening to me, President Doumbouya. Next, we come to Burkina Faso, the land of Thomas Sankara, the land of the upright people of Burkina Faso. We have a young brother. Ibrahim Traoré, the youngest president on the planet Earth, is in Burkina Faso, land of the upright people. President Ibrahim Traoré. And brother Ibrahim, you are a breath of fresh air, my brother. At only 34 years old, you are impressing Dr. Umar Tunde. But I got some questions for you, because unlike other Africans who are swept up with good speeches, I got some questions for you and the other three leaders of what can be the new African revolution for true liberation. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to keep y'all real long. But we got to have this conversation with our four young leaders in Africa. We got to have this conversation with the president of Guinea. We got to have this conversation with the president of Mali. We got to have this conversation with the new young president Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, 34 years old, the youngest president on the face of the earth. We got to have this conversation. Brother Ibrahim, I think you are the real deal. There's presidents in Africa, leaders in Africa, they talk, but they don't really do anything. They just talk. I think you're the real deal, President Ibrahim, but I got to challenge you, my brother. I still got to challenge you, because I don't need my brothers and sisters in Burkina Faso catching any more hell. I don't want my brothers and sisters in Burkina Faso to suffer any more death, any more starvation, poverty, economic devastation. I need you brothers to mean what you say and say what you mean, brothers and sisters. I need you brothers and sisters to mean what you say and say what you mean. So brother Ibrahim Traoré, are you the real deal, or are you acting for a white foreign power? General Goita of Mali, are you the real deal, or are you acting for a foreign power? General Doumbouya of Guinea, are you the real deal, or are you acting for a foreign power? And then we come to the latest coup in Africa. And then we come to the latest coup leader in Africa. And that takes us to the great Niger people. The great people of Niger, General Chiani. 62 years old. You're the eldest of the four. General Chiani, I have a question for you. Are you doing this for the liberation of African brothers and sisters in Niger? Are you doing this for the brothers and sisters in Niger, or are you doing this for yourself? This is my question to these four African leaders. This is my question to these four African leaders. General Demboya of Guinea, you've been in office nearly 2 years. General Goita of Mali, you've been in office nearly 2 years. President Ibrahim Traore, you've been in office about a year. But my question to all of you, my first question to you four African leaders, whose countries make up a collective area of land that is geopolitically critical for the regeneration and liberation and salvation of the continent of Africa and African people around the world. Are you brothers serious, or is this an ego trip? I'm not attacking you and I'm not promoting you. I'm asking a question. Patrice Lumumba was the real deal, but he was overthrown by a traitor. Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was the real deal, but he was overthrown by a traitor. Amilcar Cabral of Guinea-Bissau was the real deal, but he was assassinated by a traitor. Samora Machel was the real deal, but he was assassinated by traitors. Eduardo Mondlane was the real deal, but he was assassinated by traitors. Chris Hani, who should be the president of South Africa right now, was the real deal, but he was assassinated with the help of traitors. So I got to ask you four brothers. President Ibrahim, General Goita, President Demboya, General Chiani, are you doing this because you want power and money? Or are you doing this because you seek real revolution, real redemption, real freedom, and real independence for my brothers and sisters in Western Africa and Central Africa? That's the question I'm asking today. I want to get behind you, brothers. I want to stand in solidarity with these four young kings, 3 kings plus an elder. I want to stand in solidarity with you, but I got questions that need to be answered. I got questions that need to be answered because I know the CIA. I know that the CIA. I know that the CIA. I know that the CIA and the British MI6 and the French Secret Service, they have a bad habit of funding coups against African leaders who don't do what they want them to do. I got to know that you four brothers are not puppets of the French. I got to know that you four brothers are not puppets of the French. I got to know that you four brothers are not puppets of the French. I got to know that you are not puppets of the British MI6. I got to know that you are not puppets of the United States Central Intelligence Agency. I'm asking real questions, and I hope I get real answers. I'm asking real questions of the president of Guinea, the president of Mali, the president of Burkina Faso, and the new president, only 10 days in the making, the newest of them all, our elder General Chiani. Are you the real deal, or are you an opportunist? That's the question. That's the question I need to ask. I look at the natural minerals of these countries. I look at the natural minerals. Let's start with Burkina Faso. Let's start with Burkina Faso. But before I do, I didn't say peace and Pan-Africanism to my American Africans. Let me get back to Africa. If you are a pretendian, please hop off the live. If you didn't come from Africa, please hop off the live. All non-African people, hop off the live. I'm talking to people who are Black Africans and who are proud to be Black Africans and who don't want to be anything else on God's green earth but a Black African. First of all, to President Ibrahim, General Chiani, General Demboya, and General Goita. What is going to be our plan to stop the Arab countries from the north from invading your territory? What are we going to do about Libya, Morocco, the other Arab states that are just above you. I understand you're still fighting Islamic militants. Are we sure these Islamic militants aren't being financed by the CIA, French government, or British MI6? What is your plan to crush once and for all the Islamic militants who are threatening to take over your independent countries? We need to know what is the plan to crush the Islamic insurrection. We're not against Islam. We're not against Islam. We're not against Islam. We're against those insurgents who are using the religion to disguise their evil, selfish, and wicked agendas. What is going to be the plan in order to crush the Islamic insurgency that is threatening the independence of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Guinea? What is the solution? But another question I have for you four brothers. What deals are you making with China and Russia that the people don't know about? Don't tell me you overthrew the previous leader to make the same mistakes that he made in Guinea. Don't tell me you overthrew the previous leader to make the same mistakes he made in Mali. Don't tell me you overthrew the previous leader to make the same mistakes he made in Burkina Faso. Don't tell me you overthrew the previous leader so you can make the same mistakes that he made in Niger. Do not go into debt to Russia, China, or India. They are not your friends. If you go into debt to Russia, China, and India, you are no longer a revolutionary. You are a puppet. I hope you're listening to me, President Dumboya. I hope you're listening to me, General Goita. I hope you're listening to me, General Chiani. I hope you're listening to me, young President Ibrahim Traore. If you take the money from China, if you take too much assistance from Russia, if you take too many handouts from India, you become their slave. You become their slave. I'm not saying you can't do business with them. I'm not saying you can't do business. You may have to do business because your country has immediate needs before you can get yourself back up on your feet. I know you will have to do some business with India, Russia, and China. I understand. But what I'm saying is don't sign any deals that are going to be so deep, so long in their history that you will not be able to cut the umbilical cord to the Chinese neo-colonizer, the Russian neo-colonizer, the Indian neo-colonizer. Russia don't give a damn about Africa. Russia don't like Africa no more than China. And China don't like African people no more than the United States. Everybody in Africa who is not a black African is an invader or the descendant of one. I said everybody in Africa who is not a black African is either an invader or a descendant of one. I said everyone in Africa who is not a black African is either an invader or a descendant of an invader. Do not sell off your corporations. Do not sell off your minerals. Give nobody exclusive rights to your mineral resources. Let's look at Burkina Faso. You want to know why the Chinese and the Russians are so interested in Burkina Faso? Burkina Faso has gold. Burkina Faso has zinc. Burkina Faso has copper. Burkina Faso has manganese. Burkina Faso has phosphate, limestone. Burkina Faso has diamonds. Burkina Faso has bauxite, nickel, and uranium that they need for atomic weapons. Not only that, Burkina Faso is one of the world's largest producers of cotton. And with that type of cotton, why don't you create a clothing and furniture manufacturing industry? Make your own clothing, Burkina Faso. Make your own furniture, Burkina Faso, and sell it to Africans in the diaspora. I can promise you that your brothers and sisters in Europe, your brothers and sisters in Canada, your brothers and sisters in America, your brothers and sisters in Central and South America will buy your merchandise. Stop begging for handouts. No African country should get most of their budget from handouts. Half of the countries in Africa get half of their budget from handouts from the white man and the yellow man. That has to stop. That has to stop. Half of the countries in Africa, half of their annual budget comes from handouts from thieving neo-colonizers. They shouldn't be giving you nothing. They should be paying for what they steal. They shouldn't be giving you nothing. They should be paying for what they steal. They shouldn't be giving you anything. They should be paying for what they steal from Africa. Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim, I look forward to you building a large clothing manufacturing industry that can sell African clothing all over the diaspora. You can send it to me. I'll be your contact in the United States to get clothing manufactured in Burkina Faso, sold all over North America, South America, Central America, Canada, and the Caribbean. I can promise you this. I can promise you this. We don't need handouts. We need industry. We don't need foreign investment. We need domestic industry. Africa does not need foreign handouts and investments. Africa needs domestic industry and institutions. All that cotton, let's do something with it, President Ibrahim Traore. All that cotton, let's do something with it. You could put your women to work, your children to work. You could put the men to work. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about jobs. We're talking about building the economy of Burkina Faso so our people can eat. So Burkina Faso doesn't have to depend on handouts from its enemies in order to feed its family. You also have shea butter. Burkina Faso has a large amount of shea nut. We can sell that shea butter on the international stage. Our brothers and sisters in European countries like America, in England, in France, they would love to get their hands on that shea butter. They would love to get their hands on that shea butter. You also have corn, peanuts, and rice. You can sell that stuff to us. We'll buy some of it. We can have an import-export agricultural relationship. Let's go to Mali. General Doumbouya, you've been in charge for 2 years. What have you done, sir? Mali has gold. Mali has diamonds. Mali has uranium, copper, iron ore. Mali has lithium. Mali has manganese. Mali has bauxite, lead, marble. Mali also has some of the best and most beautiful animals in the world. Mali has rhinos, lions, crocodiles, elephants, camels, leopards, giraffes, chimpanzees, and pythons. I think it's time. I think it's time for Mali to create a zoology program for children in the African diaspora. I think it's time for Mali to create a zoology program for African children in the diaspora where they can come to Mali. Children in the African diaspora should be able to come to Mali and learn how to domesticate animals, learn how to take care of animals, learn how to breed and to feed animals. Do you know how much money the government of Mali would make if you start a Pan-African zoology and farming program where African children from the diaspora can come to Mali? Come on, Africans. Come on, brothers and sisters. If you're going to overthrow the previous leader and become the new leader, let's start building. Stop being consumed with ego and power, and let's start serving the brothers and sisters in Guinea. Serve my brothers and sisters in Mali. Serve my brothers and sisters in Burkina Faso. Serve my brothers and sisters in Niger. Can sell your gold. Burkina Faso can sell your gold. You need to start mining your own gold and educate your own goldsmith so you can start selling African jewelry. We would love to buy African jewelry direct from African nations, not from the Oppenheimers, not from the De Beers, not from the European thieves of African gold and platinum and diamonds. Burkina Faso, start making your own African jewelry. Build a website and let us buy African jewelry directly from you. Mali, start making your own African jewelry from your diamonds and your gold. African people want to buy directly from the gold and diamonds of Burkina Faso and Mali. And then we come to Guinea. Guinea has bauxite, iron ore, gold, diamonds. Guinea has graphite, manganese, nickel, uranium. Guinea has bananas, pineapples, potatoes, and mangoes. Guinea Can you ship your pineapples, bananas, tomatoes, and mangoes to the United States? Can you ship it to Canada? Can you ship it to the black communities of Europe? Can you ship your bananas and pineapples and mangoes and tomatoes to Central and South America, to the Caribbean, and to the United States? We want to support you. We want to support you. Let's stop wasting time. You've been in office 2 years, President Doumbouya of Guinea. You've been in office 2 years. Brother Tchani of Niger, you only been in there for 10 days. But General Goita of Mali, you've been in office for 2 years. President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, you've been in office for about a year. Let's start making Africa work for African people. We need solutions, not saviors in Africa. Bring us that original, unmolested African meat. We will buy that African meat, Niger. I need y'all to think about the diaspora, brothers and sisters.
Now, if you look at what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, it is really something that is worth listening to, because many African countries have been taken advantage of. We have seen the trade organizations or trade deals that Africa has been getting in with different countries, especially those from the West. And one thing that has always been the denominator of this engagement is the fact that Africa is being exploited by the Western nations. And this is something that many people are coming up to speak against. And that is why even in Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré has said that he will not have any engagement with Western nations. And if they want to kick them out and give them sanctions, they are ready to accept the sanctions. Only that they will not throw away their mineral resources and give them at a cheaper price to Western powers. He has said he desires to really have an engagement with people who think positive about Africa and who also want development for Africa. But here, Dr. Umar Johnson is saying that he is warning or even informing these leaders not to be weak when they are engaged in these discussions, because many leaders have gone there and acted like they are weak, and they have let African people down because they are not arguing or even negotiating in the best interest of Africa. Tell me in the comment section what you think about this topic. And if you're watching us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.